Hi guys, welcome back to Bunny Brook Designs. So I started working on some stuff and I'm gonna tell you I'm breaking all the rules right now. And you're probably going, what rules am I breaking? So I am working on a necklace and I thought I would share with you. I'm working on a necklace and here is the one part of it, but then I started working on this, and you're probably going, okay, that's not breaking the rules. It's a double-stranded necklace, and you got blue and green. They match. But if you're looking here, if you notice with the curated bead box, some of these beads did not come from curated bead box. They actually come from the bargain bead box because the kits were so similar this month. I decided I was going to mix them because I was having a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do with my remaining beads. Now, I've done a whole lot of jewelry that's here off camera, and I will show you those in my showcase video coming up. But I decided I wanted to make another couple multi-use necklace bracelet combinations. I decided I'm going to save these beads. I've got to get a Kumihimo design going. I was really thinking that maybe taking this with some other beads and making a chunky Kumihimo for you. I've just got to design that out, and I see some crystals here that I really like. I'm going to pull those out. We may make some earrings with those if I have enough of the same colors. Because those look cool. Those could be some earrings, or actually those could be bead embroidery. I like those for bead embroidery. Oh, and they got blue. We got to pull the blue out. So I'm getting sidetracked here while I'm talking to you. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to be doing some other designs with those where I haven't really decided what I want to do with this, but I'm going to make the rest of this. So I've got this necklace. It's not quite the length that I was hoping it would be as I hold it up. I mean, it sits nice on the neck, but what I need to do now is I need to see how long this one's going to be and then decide what length it's going to be. Now, I know I want this on this side, and I'm going to put one of those on that side. So what I'm going to do right off the bat, rather than deal with having to crimp, I am actually going to cut some beadalon, and I'm going to crimp it. So I'm going to grab my silver crimp beads and crimp covers. Now I have silver crimp beads from the curated bead box, so I'm just going to use my clamshells, and I am going to crimp the end and just get that onto these coconut shell or coconut beads. So I am going to crimp this. Where are my flat? I've had so many things out. I've been working, oops, sorry about shaking the camera, guys. I've been working on so many things off camera this past week. Starting to make some things for Bunfest. And so I've been making little bunny earrings here. So I started making these. So this is ceramic. So I actually made this using a ceramic resin and a resin mold, and then painted it. So now it's got, I don't know if you can see that, like the different sparkly colors. It changes colors. So I'm going to be making a bunch of those in different colors. I've got some cabochons that I'm making. I'll just kind of show you real quick if I can find one. So It's not completed, but I started painting the cabochon, the ceramic. So I've got these ceramic cabochons that I'll be painting. These aren't for Bunfest. These are just cabochons I've got to finish. I made and I painted it gold. I've got to finish painting this and getting it done, but the cabochons will sit in it. And I'm thinking about doing a technique that makes it look like, you know, enamel or old ceramic. Anyways, all right, so now I've got this on. I am going to open this up, and I'm just gonna, I might as well just hook that right on there. Wait, now I'm talking and I completely forgot. Glue. Always glue. Now you don't have to glue. It's not mandatory, but I want to make sure I'm like double, triple, quadruple secure on everything that I do, just because I don't want it to fail when I sell it, because then, you know, I want somebody to have my jewelry and have it last. Now, I've made jewelry for a long time. I've had jewelry since, oh God, 20, 30 years ago I made jewelry. And I still have it. It's still hanging in my jewelry box, which I think is completely amazing. All right, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to hook it on just so I can give it, you know, and see how it looks, see how long it is. So I'm just going to start stringing these on. And then we will see how long this is compared to the other necklace. Now, these are all the beads from the curated bead box. So if I just decided to go with this necklace, I wouldn't be breaking the rules, but I like the idea of breaking the rules because I don't usually do that. I like to try to keep the bargain bead box with its stuff and the curated bead box with its stuff. So this time I'm doing something totally different, and I try to use beads from my stash sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Now, if I don't have enough or this isn't long enough and I need to add more, or I need to do something slightly different, I can always add more green beads at the end and make just a string of green beads going up the back of the neck, or I can do something. Now, being a multi-stranded necklace, you really want to keep your pattern pretty close to what it was when you design it, because then I can rotate it. I can turn, especially if it doesn't, like these don't have they don't have a pendant. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. There was something outside. They don't have a pendant. So what you can do is I could rotate this around. Now I'm going to hold this up because I want this piece to be on the side. I don't want it to be completely I don't want it to be completely on the back of, or on the center, on the bottom. I don't want this to be like the focal. I want it to be asymmetrical in nature. So I'm going to take another piece of beadalon, and I have used up most all of, oops, sorry, I keep shaking the camera. I have used most all of my extra ends. So I had just finished something in, I'm going to be showing it to you here very shortly when we do the showcase. I did something that I used up, you know how like I in my videos I'll take extra long, you know, beadalon, I'll take extra long thread when I'm sewing, and then I'll save my little ends. Like you know, if they're long enough, like this has a needle on it, but if they're long enough, I'll save my threads. That one's not long enough. That'll probably go in the trash. But I will save my threads, and then when I do my bead embroidery, because with bead embroidery, you don't need to have any specific lengths of thread when you're specifically doing all bead embroidery. So I will use up my scraps in that. Same thing with when I'm making necklaces. If I have enough left, I'll make a bracelet. And then if I have smaller ones left, like this is a small one here, right? That'll make a bracelet. That might make 2 bracelets. So I always keep them. So I never really waste it. It's just, I like to work with long things, especially with necklaces and with these multi-strand, because I don't know exactly how long a length I'm going to need. I just know how I want it to hang on the body. And so as I test it, it's either going to get longer or shorter, and I may need more. And what I don't want to have to do is end up cutting a piece and then have to cut another piece. So now I'm going to put this on. And now, if you notice on this, there's a pattern. It's coin, green, dark green, three light greens, dark green. So now on this one, and I think I wasn't going to use the coin because I was going to make a pair of earrings with that. So I'm going to take the coin off. And on this side, because it's asymmetrical, I'm going to do 3 green, 3 green, 3 green, 3 green. And then if I need to, I can continue on with 3, 3, 3, and because I think I want to use these coin beads to make, ooh, and I'm throwing beads away, to make the lobster pendants. I want to use those and make a pair of earrings. All right, so now I'm going to hold this up to my neck and see where it hangs, because I have a feeling that this one is going to be the same length as the other one. And it's pretty darn close. And I just lost all my beads. Darn it. Hang on, guys. I'm going to have to pick up some beads here. So in doing that, I literally just dropped the wrong end, the one that wasn't wired on, and I just lost everything. So let me get these back on, and then we'll try this again. What I may do is, I'm thinking, because this might not have been long enough, and so what I'm thinking about doing here, and let me get this crimped down closer. What I may end up doing is to start it, instead of starting with the greens there, I may start with 3 of the dark green and do 3 dark green, 3 light green, just because I did need it a little longer. But I'm going to have to do something on the other side as well in order to make it the right length and still keep it asymmetrical, because I do not want that on the center in the bottom. But I think I want this one down below the blue one. I was thinking I wanted the blue one below the green one, but I'm thinking I want to switch that around. And I found a blue bead that was on the floor that I had dropped earlier this evening. Yes, I go through so many beads. All right, let's see how that hangs. And before I mess that up, I am going to put a bead stopper on there. So I put a bead stopper on there. I'm just holding it up to myself and seeing that's about the same length. If I hold these two up together, right, side by side, and they are literally, the blue one is definitely much shorter than the green one. So if I were to hold these two up against my neck, I need to make one of them longer. So I think I want to make the green one longer, seeing that it's already longer. And so what I'm going to do is on the longer side here, I am going to put 4 more green. And I want to put something in between that. So I don't have a So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off 2 of the green beads on this side, and I'm going to put a white, and then 3 green, a white, and 3 green. 3 green, a white, and 3 more green. And so that makes this have a new pattern at the top. So what I want to do now, because now that's going to tie into the bracelet, I am going to crimp this side or clip this side off so that it doesn't come off. But then I think on this side, I am going to put on here, I'm going to redesign this side yet again. So I'm going to pull these beads off just so I don't lose them. I am going to put on my original 3 greens like I had it originally, where I had the 3 light greens. But then I'm going to put a white, 3 dark greens, a white, and then the 3 light greens. And then a white, 3 dark greens. So what this is doing is now it's setting up with a new pattern, allowing me to add more beads with a new pattern because I'm out of these green beads. And now I can add additional beads onto my necklace without having to worry about. All right, now let's see if this is, oopsie. So the problem with this one is I've got 2 of these wires, and so clipping it at the end is not going to work quite as well as one would like. All right, now let's see how we are for length. So I'm going to hold this up, and ooh, there goes and that's much longer. So that's perfect. That is exactly what I needed. And I've just lost those things like to go everywhere. All right, so I'm going to crimp off the green first, just because this one's a pain, having both of the ends open. So yeah, so it's been a crazy week for me. I haven't been back to beading for a bit, so I made a couple of videos for you and posted them this week, but haven't actually beaded since last weekend. And which is unusual for me because I try to do some beading at least 2 to 3 times a week. All right, I am going to crimp. Make sure that's nice and tight. I always leave a tiny bit of a tail on my crimps, so I don't know if you can see that or not. There is just a little bit of a tail there, but that will help hold the glue inside the clamshell, and it'll give it something to glue onto. I'm just going to close that. And then we are going to take this side and getting my, ooh, don't fall off. And I'm losing, am I losing things? We're going to do that. I don't want to lose that. All right. So now, yes, I'm making a mess and I love it. All right, and this side. So I will probably next week be doing a lot of beading and probably doing a lot of beading videos just because it's supposed to be close to 100 here in Ohio. And I know some of you that live in Arizona and some other countries and other, areas where 100 degrees is normal. I'm just going to tell you it's not normal for Ohio and the humidity, so I will be spending more of my time indoors, which I don't like to do in the summer. I really like to be outdoors, enjoying my backyard and my garden. So my backyard, it's a small backyard. I live in town. But I have a fountain, I have lush gardens, I have a nice gazebo that has a screen and actual blackout curtains so that if I want to block out the sun, I certainly can. It has a fan. So it's a really nice backyard. And it's a lot of fun to just hang out outside, and I feed the birds, and the birds so my fountain is a waterfall and the birds like to take bird bath in it, which is kind of hilarious just to watch them. So yeah, so I'm kind of sad that it's going to be so miserable and I'm not going to want to be outside. All right, so I am going to put a big jump ring so that it matches the jump rings that are on the rings, because again, I'm trying to make this match everything. So it ties it together. You've got the same size jump rings, you've got similar beads. So I added white to this one. Plus I have, white on this one. And so this makes it kind of tie together. So now I'm going to start out on this end. I'm going to put a crimp bead on this side, and then we'll crimp the other side. And then we'll do the bracelet. So we're doing 2 necklaces and a bracelet. And then we'll do the earrings too on this one. So what I do once I'm crimped is I hold on to the crimp bead and I kind of pull the wire a little bit just to see if it's going to slide, just to make sure I've crimped it really good. And because nobody's going to see it, I don't bother folding it. I like my flat crimps. I always break when I try to fold. I always break my crimps. That's why I just use flat pliers. And while I know there are so many people that have told me, oh, try this, try that. I've tried it. I've spent hours literally taking beadle on and crimping and clipping and crimping and clipping. And I will get maybe 1 out of 10 times it'll be perfect. And then sometimes, just sometimes, I'll get a perfect crimp and it'll look good. It'll have the nice fold, and I'll go to fold it over, and as soon as I fold it over and go to tighten it up, the crimp breaks. And I think I'm just too hard on it. I'm used to working with wire and things, and it unfortunately, I have a heavy hand when it comes to, so flat crimps for me. Plus I have a ton of these clamshell things that I keep getting, sometimes in the bead boxes, sometimes in when I buy mixes of things, and I've got a ton of them I need to use up, so I might as well use them. And they look pretty good. I mean, they don't look bad at all. All right, so there is the second necklace. I am going to, for this one, I'm going to use a little bit smaller of a jump ring here. And I'm going to add those to, I'm going to add lobster claws to this necklace. Now, ultimately, if you wanted to, oops, wrong one. Ultimately, if you wanted to, you could put small space, you could put jump rings in the middle of your design, or chain. If you were to have chain in there, you could actually clip lobster claws to any parts of the chain. So in the other design we did, I had chain, and while I clipped the lobster claw to the jump rings at the top and the back, if you have chain in your design, you could clip it to the chain and make a totally different design. That's one of the reasons why I do like doing these multi-wear designs, because now I have, you know, unique designs. Woo! And so, for example, this one is a nice asymmetric, which is exactly the way I wanted it to come out. Now let's do the necklace, or the bracelet. So the bracelet's up here at the top, and I'm just going to bring them down here so you can see what I had designed out. It kind of pulls in all of the beads that we used in the two. And it's going to give me a nice... So I'm going to take one of the pieces that I had used from the necklace, and I'm going to string on. And actually, is that the shortest one? That is the shortest one. That's a long one. That's... I wonder if we could use this one. That one might be too short. That one's another long one. So those will be for the other necklaces. That one's fairly long. We'll use this one instead, because this one's longer. And again, I like to use up my pieces, and if you have shorter, if you take a length and a half, basically, you know you're going to take and make a 20-inch necklace. If you take like 30 inches, it gives you plenty of working thread or working wire. And then if you decide you want to make a bracelet, you have, when you clip off, you have a nice end to use for a bracelet. And I've seen people, you know, that I've done jewelry with, you know, when I've done beading groups or whatever, I don't even know what you'd call them. Like in the crochet world, they call it stitch and bitch, but, in the beading world, I don't know, beading buddies, whatever. We would get together and bead, and they would take just enough. So like if they had a 7-inch bracelet, they'd take like 7.5 inches. So it'd be about this long. And then they'd be fighting with the crimps. And I'm like, why? And it's like, because you're trying to save money on the beadalon, especially if you buy the 49 strand. And I do have some that's 49 strand, which is quite expensive. But if you're beading on that, if you take a length and a half, you have plenty of working wire to make your necklace. And then you have enough left over that you can make a bracelet, and you're really not wasting a whole lot of, because see, I could get another bracelet out of that if I really wanted to. And this isn't quite as long as I'd like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off one of these white. I'm going to put on another lava bead. I'm going to pop the white back on. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then I'm going to see if it is now long enough. I want it to be a little bit looser than I normally would. And see, that's going to be on my wrist. If I were to do this on my wrist, it's not going to overlap. So I want it to overlap a little. And so I'm going to take another white crystal, and I'm going to put another white crystal on here. So what this is doing, if you notice, I've got beads from the blue and the white, and then beads from the green mixed together. So it makes it almost, see, they're almost overlapping. Like, I want it to be a little looser. So I am going to add another lava bead on each side, and that should be perfect. And I'm going to snatch a lava bead because I didn't have one. And that's perfect because it overlaps by one. And when we put this lobster claw on, it's going to dangle. I want it to hang on the wrist nicely. So I am going to put on a crimp bead and a crimp cover on this side. And so while I'm doing this, my crazy week this week, and I know I said I've been busy and I haven't really beaded, mostly because Bella went into stasis, like, I don't know, Tuesday this week. So when Bunny shed from the heat, stasis, they ingest a lot of hair, and she doesn't like to drink water. And I have tried everything I can think of to get her to drink more water. She's just not a good water drinker. And after I make this video, I have to go give her meds, which normally she'd take them very easily. Tonight, she's decided, I tried to give them to her before this video, and she decided she was going to run away from me and is like, no, I don't want it. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun later. But anyways, Bunny shed. They go into stasis. She doesn't like water. I've tried Dasani. I've tried tap water. I've tried filtered tap water. I've tried distilled water. I've tried Evian. So, like, she's had every choice of water that you could possibly imagine, and just nothing. Just nothing. makes her happy. So we'll keep trying different brands until we find one she likes, I guess. So in the meantime, she's been doing the stasis regimen, which is subcutaneous fluids, which gets her the water that she needs. And honestly, I think that's really all she needed. That's probably a little more glue than I wanted, which is why I have a fabric. So my tablecloth here, and I know it looks like wrinkly, it's just a bar towel. I bought a bunch of bar towels. So I've got a sheet down and then bar towels so that I could just wipe stuff on the bar towel, throw it in the wash, and if it gets ruined, it gets ruined. It just doesn't really matter to me because, again, it's just a cheap bar towel. I think I got like 25 of them for, I don't know, $10 or $15. Makes it really nice so that, one, if it gets ruined with anything that I'm working on, you know, that and the cheap, literally a cheap Walmart sheet on the table, I'm not worried about ruining a nice tablecloth. Just FYI, if you tend to beat on things and you've bought a nice tablecloth, or you buy, you know, nice beading boards or things, and you're spending a lot of money, you know, if you do anything with resin, you do anything with paints, you do anything with anything like that, you're gonna ruin your you're gonna ruin it eventually. It's just bound to happen if you haven't already. All right, so now we're gonna try the bracelet, and I made this a little tighter than I probably should have. It will stretch. All right, let's. Ooh! And that is the way you break a bracelet, because I apparently put too much tension on it. So if you make your bracelet too tight, perfect example right there. I made it too tight and it literally snapped when I tried to put it on. I kind of knew I made it a little too tight when I crimped it, but was kind of hoping that I hadn't. So now I get to rebuild it. I'm going to pause you. I'm going to rebuild it, and then I will be right back. All right, so I've restrung. Now it's time to put our magnetic clasp on. And so now you don't have to necessarily do magnetic clasps for this. I like using the magnetic clasps because it makes it to easy on, easy off. But you could use lobster claws. You could use, other methods of attaching. I wouldn't recommend toggle clasps because, again, if you're trying to do toggle clasps with, that's perfect. If you're trying to do toggle clasps with a multi-tiered necklace like this, I'm not sure that the toggle clasps would work very well. So, just FYI, keep that in mind when you're making them. And so I'm putting this on. I like the way that looks as a multi-strand. I really like that. So there is another design, except this time, like I said, I broke the rules. And part of the problem that I'm having are these beads here. The lava beads are not center drilled as, perfectly, which is fine. I mean, this is supposed to be a beachy theme necklace. So there you go. So there's the necklace and bracelet combo. And let's make the earrings real quick. So I am going to grab, excuse me, I'm going to pause you. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I didn't want to sneeze on camera. Allergies. So the clasp, or the I don't know, these head pins that came with, they're kind of wonky. So I am going to grab some eye pins, if I can find some nice long round eye pins here. And we are going to make the lobsters. And I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to, I haven't decided what I want to do yet. So we've got this left over, and I don't know if I want to do, so for example, if I did this, or if we did this with that, and then maybe that as a second dangle. Decisions. So if we put the green and the blue and did, or do we do, or do we just go with blue? All right, let's see what the green and the blue look like together without that, because we may make this a separate pair of earrings. I think I like the blue with that best. We're going to make these. And then we may make... Oops, sorry about the noise, guys. I have some really rude neighbors. Well, not neighbors, they're just people that drive down the street. All right, we're going to make that. There's one. Wow, that's felt really flimsy. And there's two. I'm going to... Yeah, this one's really flimsy. I don't know what's wrong with this one, but we are going to put it on a different... So... One of the things that I've noticed is sometimes you get a, it's supposed to be, 20 gauge hard wire, but it turns out that they've thrown in a 20 gauge soft wire. And that doesn't work real well when you're trying to make earrings, because if an earring snags on something and you've got soft wire, that's going to make it come apart real easy. So, oh goodness. So I'm trying to close this up because, well, we'll just get that in a minute. So I'm going to open up the bottom. I don't know if, to be honest, I don't know if those holes are big enough to hook on that. So let's open up one of these just to see if that's going to, and see, that's not going to, well, it might. It might. And see, that's going to be, that ain't going anywhere. All right. So suddenly, I don't know what's going on, but apparently my allergies decided they are going to act up. So we are going to have to take a break after these earrings. All right, now I need ear wires. And I know I got some with the kit. I may have used them up already. Probably. So I'm just trying to find myself some ear wires here that match the metal because there's different silvers. So I'm just going to take a couple of ear wires here. And I am going to make sure that my loops on the top are completely closed and that they are 90 degrees to the bottom loops so that my crab hangs correctly. And because my crab has a front and a back, the crabs are going to be in the same direction, unfortunately. I tend to like doing it where everything's mirrored. It's just my preference, but with these, we can't, so they'll just be the same direction. All right, and there we go. Oops, see, is that backwards? That's backwards. See, you got to be careful. Doesn't take much to get it backwards. There we go. And there we go. So I'm going to tighten that up just a hair more. There we go. Perfect. All right. So we've almost used up all of the beads in the curated bead box. I still have these. I don't know what I'm going to do with those yet. We made 2 necklaces, breaking the rules, using things from multiple bead boxes, and I really like this. I think this would be a good, fun summer necklace. So anyways, that's what we made. We made that and the crab earrings, and I am going to pause you, clean up a little bit, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.